In this video, I'm going to do some examples of solving equations. So you can use this video to help you with anything in this unit as we go through and we solve equations. You can always refer back to this while you're doing practice, while you're studying, anything you need when you need help, you can go back to this video. So in this first example, it says x over 7 equals negative 12, or x divided by 7 equals negative 12. So to get rid of division, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. And when I do that, I'm left with x equals, and then you're going to multiply negative 12 times 7. Feel free to use a calculator so you don't make mistakes. And you get negative 84. And that's my answer. This is what we call one solution because there is one answer that works. And I can always check my answer by plugging it into the original. So if I put negative 84 for x, and I simplify, I get negative 12 equals negative 12. So I know I'm correct. And you can always check. I'm not going to check for all of these just for the sake of time, but you should always check. Number 2, I'm going to distribute the 4 because I want to get rid of my parentheses. So I get 8x plus 16 equals 25. I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. So I get 8x equals 9, and then divide both sides by 8. I prefer that you leave it as a fraction. This is, again, one solution. Fractions are okay. Fractions are preferred. If you put the decimal, as long as it's not a repeating decimal or something like that, that works just fine. So 1.125 also works. Don't be afraid of fractions or decimals. So in number 3, I have variables on both sides of my equal sign. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at the left side here, which is this side. And I'm going to get rid of my parentheses by distributing the negative 2. So I end up with negative 2 times negative 2x is positive 4x. And negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. And now on the right side, I'm going to combine my like terms. So 8x and negative 4x combine to 4x. And bring down my plus 8. And you can actually stop right here. I don't need to go much further because if you notice right at this step, I have the exact same thing on both sides of my equal sign. So I could automatically jump to infinite solutions. So that would be your final answer. Oops. If you don't recognize it there, my advice would be to subtract 4x from both sides. And notice that then you get 8 equals 8, which also means infinite solutions. When you have the exact same thing on both sides of the equal sign, it's infinite solutions. Number 4, again, I'm going to look at the left side first, and I'm going to combine my like terms. And again, you can follow your list of steps that I've posted and that you took notes on. So this would be 5x plus 7 equals, distribute the 2 on this side, so you get negative 38 plus 10x. I like to move my variable first, and I like to move it from the right to the left, so I'm going to minus 10x from both sides. When I do that, I get negative 5x plus 7 equals negative 38. Then I'm going to subtract my constant over to the right. I get negative 5x equals negative 45. Divide both sides by negative 5. And I get x equals positive 9. And again, you can put that back in for all of the x's in the original equation and see if it works. Number 5, don't let decimals scare you. You just go through the same process here. So I'm going to subtract 2.2x from both sides. I get 1.1x, bring down my rest of my equation. Just be careful here. Make sure you're bringing down this -3. Don't drop any signs when you work. Then I'm going to add 7.4 to both sides. When I do that, I get 1.1x equals 4.4. Divide by 1.1, and you get x equals 4. See, decimals, not very scary. I'm going to combine like terms on this side of my equal sign. -3 and 11 make 8. So this is 8 plus 7x equals, and then I'm going to distribute here. Oops. So I get 7x plus 21. And if you do recognize it here, good for you. If I stop right here, I can actually notice that this is going to be no solution because I have the same coefficient but different constant. So if you don't notice it here, that's okay. You could take another step and subtract 7x from both sides. And when I do that, I get 8 equals 21. And this is false. 8 doesn't equal 21. So that's why it's no solution as well. There's no check for no solution or infinite solution. You just would stop. Couple more. These ones look a little bit different. So here I have -2/5 x equals -16. There's a few ways to do this. You can rewrite this as -2x over 5 equals -16. And then since it's divide by 5, I can multiply by 5 on both sides to get -2x equals, then use a calculator here, -80. And then divide both sides by -2. X equals 40. My other option here is if I start with the original, I can multiply by the reciprocal, which we've sort of talked about, I think, at the beginning of the year. So I would multiply this by -5/2 on both sides. And when you do that, 2 and 2 cancel, negative and negative cancel, 5 and 5 cancel, so you're left with x equals, and then here this is -16 over 1 times -5 over 2, and multiply across. Again, use a calculator. So we know this is going to be 80 over 2, x equals 40. So it doesn't matter how you solve it, you get the same answer here. Number 8. You have a couple of options here too. I just like to get rid of my denominator as quickly as possible. It's really bugging me. So the first thing I'm going to do here is multiply by 3 on both sides. Since that's divide by 3, to get rid of division, I multiply. So when I do that, these cancel. My numerator just becomes my equation. 17 times 3, 51. Now I can go through my process of combining like terms. So this is what, 4? Nope, not 4. Silly Miss Rosicki. It's 6. So I get 6x plus 7, subtract 7 from both sides of my equal sign, because whatever I do to one side, I must do the exact same thing to the other. And then subtract that, 44. Divide by 6. So in this case, if I try to divide this, I get a repeating decimal. And what you get is 7.33333. I don't like this. Don't do that. And don't round it either. Don't say it's 7.3 because that's not correct. So we're going to simplify this fraction. Both of these divide by 2. So we're going to say x equals 22 over 3. And that's your final answer. Leave it in fraction form. Don't give me a repeating decimal. Number 9, just 2 more. So here I have 3/5 times 10x minus 15. Keep the fraction. Same thing as before, if you turn it into a decimal and it turns out to be a repeating decimal and you round, your answer is going to be wrong. So we keep it as the fraction and we just distribute our fraction. So really what we're doing is we're doing 3/5 times 10x, and you can use a calculator, so you can do 3 divided by 5. And then just type times 10, don't like clear it or anything, just click type times 10, and you get 6, so this is 6x. And then we have 3/5 times negative 15. You get negative 9, so this is minus 9 equals 33. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So 6x equals, let's see, 42 divided by 6, x equals 7. And again, you should be checking all of these in the original equation. I'm not, just for the sake of time, but you should. And last but not least, number 10. Again, that denominator is really not something I like. I really can't do anything until I get rid of it, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by -2 because that denominator means divide. The opposite divide is multiply. So whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. When I multiply by this, it just cancels. I don't do anything with the top. The numerator just comes down. So I've multiplied by my -2 on both sides. Now I'm going to add 18. I get 5x equals 0. And sometimes people get here and they don't know what to do. Just keep solving, right? This says 5 times something equals 0. The opposite of multiply is divide. So divide both sides by 5. And 0 divided by 5 is 0. This is one solution. This is an answer. 0 is a number. You can have 0. Okay, so some people get x equals 0 and they say no solution. That's not true. It is a solution. It is a number. It works. So those are some examples of solving equations. And like I said, you can refer back to this video at any point. If you just kind of are doing homework and you get stuck or anything, you can watch this video and then have it help you with any assignment that you're doing.